I am Liz Erlewine. I'm the Visual Arts Director here in Petoskey. And we are really grateful to have you guys join us today for this Coffee at 10, in which we will do some celebrating of youth art in Northern Michigan. So this is an ongoing thing, of course, that we're doing at Crooked Tree, but our timing for this event coincides very nicely with the youth art exhibition and activities going on at Crooked Tree Art Center, Traverse City. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my trusty colleague, who is this way on my screen, to Christy Wodek, our Education and Outreach Director in Traverse City.
Oh, good morning, everybody. I'm really excited. So we ended, we started COVID last year with a quick takedown of our youth art exhibit. So fast forward, lots of shifts. Here we are a little over a year later, and you're going to be very impressed with what we're going to be sharing. So before I get started, I want to just take a moment, and I know we'll all be virtually clapping, but I would like to thank all the art teachers. You've had one heck of a year, and when you see the artwork, it's hard to imagine that there were all the changes, the hybrid, the distance, the in-person learning. So it's really it's quite nice. So all your teachers, thank you very much. And students, you've done an outstanding job as well. So we're gonna be highlighting the students in particular. So I quickly learned when we put together our virtual exhibition, because we knew it would not be safe to hold the event in person at Crooked Tree. It's usually floor to ceiling art, which we absolutely love. But with floor to ceiling art also brings lots and lots of people standing very, very close to each other. So I asked all the art teachers to send me digital images, and then I was able to create some flipping books. We learned very quickly that our account with our flipping book would not hold 1,000-page flipping book. So I have 3 flipping books. I have a flipping book for elementary, middle school, and high school, and we're going to be sharing those links here. And we brought in Morgan Hanna, and Morgan, if you just want to wave so everybody knows where you're at. Fantastic. So Morgan is from Kendall College of Art and Design, and I'm going to be letting her talk so that she can explain what her role is, but she did jury. And between Kendall and our sponsors, we are offering over $22,000 in awards to our students, which is amazing. So let's see. Morgan, do you want to just talk a little bit about Kendall, and then we'll get to sharing some of the images?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Morgan. Christy already did an excellent job of introducing me, but I'm one of the undergraduate admissions counselors at Kendall College of Art and Design. Our college is very focused on fostering the growth of young artists. We are based out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, so right in the lower peninsula, a little bit far away from you guys, but not too far. And yeah, we just really care about, what art can bring to the world, and our goal is to foster intellectual growth and individual creativity, to be able to promote ethical and civic responsibility for artists and designers, as well as providing an innovative, collaborative, and supportive space for our young artists to truly flourish. So yeah, that's a little bit about us.
Fantastic. And I just put in the chat the link to our website, and that has some more information and links to our flipping books, which I'll be sharing. We also have Rebecca Kinnee attending with us. She is from the TBAISD Career Tech Center. And while a lot of our schools in Northern Michigan are officially on spring break, Rebecca has one more day, and a few of our classes that have showed up on here also have one more day. So you will see a little reflection of some of the work that has been created with Rebecca at the Career Tech Center in Graphic Arts. And we'll give her an opportunity to chat and talk a little bit about what her year looked like. So I'm going to screen share, and I'm going to show you the website so everybody gets a little bit comfortable, because that's where we have announced our awards. And let me see here. All right, Liz, are we good? Can you see the website? Oh, I see Rebecca nodding her head. Fantastic. So this happens to be one of our students in the Traverse City area, Molly, that this is her piece right here. And if we scroll down, we have a list of schools that are participating. So we have Benzie, Buckley Community Schools, Elk Rapids High School, Forest Area Middle and High School, Frankfort High School, Glen Lake Elementary and Middle School, Grand Traverse Academy, Kingsley High School, Mansalona High School, Old Mission Peninsula, the TBAISD Career Tech Center, Traverse Area Public Schools, and Traverse City Christian. We normally have a few more schools that participate. Obviously, this year has been challenging, but I'm thrilled that we were able to connect with these students. So I'm going to show you some of the flipping books so you can see how the flipping books look, and I'm going to encourage you after our coffee at 10 to grab yourself a cup of coffee or your beverage of choice and flip through, because they really are special. We have asked our pieces, or our students that have received an award, they are able to bring their artwork to Crooked Tree, and we'll have them on display for a couple of weeks. So let's pop into our elementary. So as you're flipping through, we're not going to flip through the whole entire flipping book, but it is an interactive experience. So if you are so inclined and you would like to help donate to our education program, you may just click this little bucket and do that. But let's see what some of the art looks like. These are our award winners here. I've got some names, and if you click on a link, it takes you right to the piece. And I've indicated on each piece if they've won an award from Kendall, if they've won an award for Crooked Tree. And as you see in some of the flipping books, some of the students won multiple awards. So I'm going to click out of here and, let's see. I'm going around this a little bit in a different way. So this is our middle school. So it's set up very similarly. And you can flip through here and see the different artwork. This is a piece from West Middle School. So if you're curious what school it is from, I have indicated up at the top. If you want to go to a school in particular, we have a table of contents. And we can go straight to Buckley schools right here, and we can flip through. So if you're searching by school. And let's go on to our next flipping book. Oh, nope, I'm not going to want to do that. See if I can switch out of here. So we're going to go to high school next. So the one difference with the high school flipping book, there are a lot of awards. So I was not able to hyperlink all of the awards. Especially for Kendall, I was able to do some awards with hyperlinks this way. So we have the Al and Susan Cogswell. So the awards I'm about ready to announce, these students have won $100. We have Molly Baker. So Molly actually won an award from Kendall, and she won an award from Crooked Tree. And Morgan, I don't know if you want to hop in here and make any comments for the pieces that we share. You're welcome to, or I can just keep flipping through.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit. Do you want me to speak a little bit about Molly's right now?
That would be great.
Perfect. Yeah, Molly's piece right here. So I was really, when I was going through and judging, something that Kendall we look at is obviously we're looking at, you know, the technical ability of a student, but we're also looking at the voice and the way that the student interprets the world. And when I looked at this specific piece by Molly, I really liked the almost illustrative aspect of it. It kind of brings you into this other world, another environment, and it's also technically well advanced as well. But yeah, it's a beautiful piece, beautiful use of color, as well as composition. So.
And the other thing, Morgan, if you just want to talk a little bit about how you look at the body of work.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, when we're looking at the body of work, we are looking at those technical skills, so composition, color, theory, things like that. But then we are also looking at the unique voice and like I said, the way they interpret the world, but then also the way that they illustrate compelling narratives and how that all relates to one another too when you're looking at a body of work as opposed to just a singular piece. Are they all kind of cohesive? Are they all connected in some way, whether it be through medium, through their process and how they work through their art, or is it unified in a thematic way? Are they all exploring social justice issues? Are they exploring internal issues, things like that?
Great. So as you're going through the flipping book, all of Molly's pieces, and she has several, they'll have a Kendall award. So it wasn't necessarily one piece in Morgan's eyes as a representative of Kendall. It wasn't one particular piece that necessarily made that decision. It was the combination of all the pieces. So our next award is from Steve Fritz, and this student is from Forest Area Schools. This particular student in particular, his pages are all right next to each other, so I can easily flip without getting you guys motion sickness flipping back and forth. So he entered these 4 pieces, and this piece right here is the piece that won the award from Crooked Tree, but it was the whole collection that was considered for this. Is there anything you want to say in particular, or do you want me to just keep going through, Morgan?
Yeah, this is a perfect example of what I was kind of just listing out for you, Christy. This is a perfect example of a very unified, cohesive portfolio. I can see exactly what he's exploring, and it definitely also the skill that he put into it. Very excellent use of foreshortening and proper proportions of a car. Cars can be hard to draw, and really just such an appreciation to that product that is put out. And it's really, I saw and I was like, wow, I could see him in our product design major, so I definitely, yeah, these were beautiful pieces.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Steve Fritz, we have another award from Steve. So Steve, thank you. And this is a Central High School student, and this is the Untitled Portrait. So I don't know if we have this piece in person. I will say, as students and art teachers are dropping off pieces, they look fantastic on digitally, but then there's always another depth to the pieces when they come in, and it's always nice to see them. So is there anything you want to say about this one?
Yeah, so this one is definitely, when you're looking at technical, this is an excellent, example of form, and really also that kind of side eye that she's giving, also it makes you think in a way of like, what's she thinking about? What is she looking at? So it's really both, technical as well as that kind of narrative that's maybe a little bit more subtle, but really intriguing in that way.
I will say, I know that it would be nice to be doing this in person, but everybody can hear and everybody can see. Normally we're very crowded. It's very hard to see and hear, and to be able to get some feedback from you is very nice. I appreciate this. Yeah. Next up is Howard and Ruth Kitchen, and this is a student from Elk Rapids. And this is scratch art. So so this piece was not necessarily part of Kendall's purview. This is from us. So I won't ask you to speak to this one. And we will go back to my list. And next we have Steve and Raynette Palmer, and this is Sophia Morse. So, and this also happens to be on our cover and received a Kendall Award. So I'll let you talk if you would like to, Morgan.
Yeah, what drew me to this one is really that focus on the eyes. The eyes have so much. They say that the eyes are the window to the soul, and I feel like this piece really encapsulates that, while also it kind of shows this human connection from the way that the two figures are, you know, right next to each other. And so it's really, I think with COVID and everything that's going on right now, it's really beautiful to see something so intimate shown through such a technically also well portrayed work.
I agree. And I felt the exact same way. I feel, you know, we're all looking through a different lens because of our past year. And this piece, I had a very similar reaction to that. All right, we have another award from Steve and Raynette Palmer, and this is a student from Elk Rapids High School. Or wait, hold on. I think I might have, well, did I link the wrong one? No, I linked the right one. Kingsley High School, sorry, Kingsley. And these are plaster carvings. And so having worked with plaster, I have great respect for this. So this is being dropped off, I believe, today. So this will be one of the pieces that you can see in person. So congratulations, Miriam. I've got to change. So I have the wrong school here, so I'm going to fix that later. Lakin is from Elk Rapids. And this is a colored pencil illustration. This got delivered yesterday, so this will be in person. And this award is from Alicia Sanford. So thank you, Alicia. Next up, we have an award from Clay Space TC, and they've become great collaborators with Crooked Tree. We really appreciate working together with them. So they're offering this student from Frankfort High School 6 private lessons, which is valued at $175. So thank you, Clay Space TC. And I know Clay is in the audience. So Clay, if you want to put something in the chat in your comments on this piece, that would be great. But this also won an award from Kendall. So Morgan.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wasn't sure, they look like they're wheel thrown, and I'm gonna assume that they're wheel thrown, but really great skill in the form and just the technical ability. Wheel throwing is hard and it takes a long time, but I definitely can see that she's worked towards it. And then also the way that they emphasize the form using the textures, I was really drawn by that swirl in the center, the almost looks like maybe placing wet clay on top of it and then maybe scraping it away a little bit and adding that extra texture just really emphasize that form, as well as the glaze that is on top of it as well. How it gets darker and then lighter into the center really just kind of draws your eye into that. And yeah, beautiful pieces.
Yeah, I'm always, I have a ceramics background, it's always exciting to see ceramics coming from schools, because we know it's not the most economical form of art for schools, and Frankfort always does a fantastic job. Our good friends at the Traverse City Area Camera Club, they have also offered a $100 award, and this one goes to Ainsley Rosenberg from West Senior High. And Ainsley also won a Kendall Award. She has, I think, 5 pieces in this collection. So I'll let you talk to this one, Morgan.
Yeah, I remember looking through and looking at all of Ainsley's work, and it was very humanistic in not only what she was taking pictures of, but also in the way that she portrayed it. You can see that there's almost like a hyper realistic, obviously it's realism, but it's almost like hyper focused. You can see, you know, the grit and the detail, and every single one of her pieces was like that, whether it was a portrait without any, let's say, grit or dirt on it. You know, she really did a great job of creating that focus and that focal point that was just so I can't think of the term that I'm trying to think of right now, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if her pieces are, if they were close. So here's another one of her pieces, but yeah. Oh, there's another one.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That same thing where she's like hyper focusing on the hands and the connection, and you can see the texture of the skin really nicely. So it's really beautiful in the way that she's edited them as well.
as you can see, everybody, when you go through here, you're really in for a treat. You're going to be very inspired with everything that we have in here. So we'll just do a couple more awards. We have 2 Camera Club honorable mentions. So these students will receive a membership to the TC Area Camera Club. And we have a Buckley High School student with this marble right here. And we have one more. And we have Carson Settle from Central High School in this night sky. So really lovely. All right, so why don't I flip to, I love being able to flip. I'm gonna flip to Career Tech Center, and Rebecca, if you would like to talk about the student work and what life has been like at the Career Tech Center this year.
Did you want me to go ahead right now?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can flip through. So this is, I should full disclosure to everybody, this is the first time people are seeing the flipping book. So Rebecca has no idea what order I have anything. I literally just pulled them in order. But if you want to first just talk about what your year was like.
Yeah. This is just amazing. These books. I want to spend hours looking at some of these. They are so inspiring. Yeah, so wonderful. But yes, we've had a crazy year of ups and downs and transition after transition. But we still have persevered, and we've still been really able to do some good work and make some great projects still. Kids are, they even practice at home quite a bit. Some of them really liked the distance learning because they had more time to do stuff. Some people were, preferred to be face-to-face because they were more motivated that way. But it's been a very social year too, because we've been really concentrating on more just like our relationships and stuff in class and our community in general. So that's been really a nice treat to get closer to everybody and, talk about their future and things like that. And then they always are blowing me away, bringing in the work that they do even at home. And like I said, I think it's that practice piece that's been real big this year, that I'm seeing that people are really practicing at their art, even on off hours that they're not in school. And it's just making such a big difference. And their creative process is getting so much more fine-tuned as well, because we really emphasize that, to thumbnail and plan and have intentions about your work. And it has been wonderful to see the heartfelt type things that are like social, political, concepts, and just even concepts maybe about themselves and how they are feeling through the whole thing. So it's been fantastic, really. I mean, it's been hard, but we've all done it. We're doing it, and we're just letting the kids be themselves too. We've got this kind of motto that we always say is you be you. You just got to do what you got to do for you. So we're having a little bit even more flexibility, and they're rising to the challenge with the maturity. They're able to stay resilient. And so yeah, it's really hats off to the students that have done a great job.
Oh, that's great. I'm very happy to hear that. So Liz looks like she's got something to say.
I just, I'm in our Petoskey area, and we have attendees from near and far and all over. And I'm wondering, before we dig into some other kind of content areas, Rebecca, can you explain a little bit about how the Career Tech works? And also, even in Northern Michigan, our schools have been handling this pandemic in different ways. I know prior to going public, we were chatting a little bit about the ups and downs that you've experienced in your area. Can you tell us about that as well?
Sure. Yeah, the Career Tech Center is a kind of a central school where 5 counties come to the school. So that's been a challenge in itself, because it's like we're the contact tracing and stuff like that is that's kind of an issue, or not an issue. We handle it well, but you know what I mean. Just with the 5 counties, we've got more people contacting with more people, and I know you're supposed to kind of stay more in your bubbles and things. So. But the kids have really done so good at even doing all the safety precautions, like washing their hands, social distancing. They're always got their masks on. So we've been able to handle that pretty well. But yeah, they get the opportunity to come here and they meet other people from different districts, which is, I think, the biggest and the thing that's most beloved about the Career Tech Center, is that you create a community of our, you know, people that are all interested in the same thing. And so students just are flourishing in that way because they, you know, then they get to meet them, and then they're, you know, on Instagram with them or whatever, you know. So even that is neat to see, because then they share their art with each other, and that's kind of neat to see how that kind of spreads around. And so, yeah.
I can attest, it's a great program that is over at the Career Tech Center, and the students that leave really are coming with a very strong foundation. So, we've got Linda from St. Joseph County, and she is also a Career Tech Center teacher for graphic design. So thank you for joining us. All right, well, why don't I flip through the Career Tech Center section of the flipping book, and then Morgan and Rebecca, feel free to add some comments. I would really like, Rebecca, if you'll just talk a little bit about how these pieces were made and the options that the kids have, the students. I say kids, and they're probably like, we're practically adults.
I keep thinking that too. I got to use the word students. Yeah.
I know. What the students have available to them. So I'm going to screen share again, and I will just be flipping through. Can everybody see the flipping book again?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'll flip through, and if you want to maybe talk about the materials, how they're creating things, I'll let you and Morgan, you know, comment on pieces as we go through.
Okay.
So these are digital images. Well, this one's digital and this one's acrylic.
Yes.
So is there a requirement that they have to do a certain amount of digital work versus, I guess, a more traditional format?
It really kind of depends on sort of the target of the assignment. So like sometimes they can do any medium to fulfill an assignment. This assignment was the creative process, because I wanted to observe how they worked and how they planned and how they, you know, made intentions towards their work and how they were gonna even make it, you know, use the medium. And so I encouraged them to use their favorite medium, or the medium they felt they were the best at. So that's what kind of like the overarching goal of this project was. But many of them, when we pulled them in the beginning, they wanted to do portraits. And so this project is an icon portrait, because we were talking about identity in the beginning of the year. We always try to build the community, and all the students are really big, you know, they're right, that's the age that they're at, and they want to, you know, figure out their identity and stuff like that. So part of kind of knowing your identity is kind of who you respect and who you look up to, and who you model yourself after. So that's what this project was, with the portraits.
And I didn't mean to flip too fast. I just wasn't sure if we had more portraits after it that I could go to. So there really isn't an order. What were you going to say?
The Bob Ross one blew me away. It's so funny. I like the way she put the, you know, the things in the hair like that. That's great.
Right.
And of course, anime kind of style is huge in my class. We have a big Miku. I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but we have this huge shrine in our classroom that's just growing and growing and growing, and everyone keeps drawing this like Miku character in different ways. So I do see this a lot in my class. Yeah, so a lot of people are practicing at that, and they want to do like fan art, or, you know, do concept development and things like that. So.
Right. So Morgan, you probably have a nice stepping stone from the Career Tech Center to your graphic arts, digital arts program down at Kendall. Is that true?
Yeah, I am, full disclosure, I'm a newer employee, as in like started during COVID. So in terms of direct student to graphic design, I'm not aware of the numbers there, but I definitely will say when I was looking through, I did see a lot of students who are using graphic or digital art, and they're using it to explore character design. They're using it to explore even not just character design. There are some students who are doing more realistic or realism work with it, but you can definitely see that you're seeing kind of this transition from purely traditional work over to this graphic design. Digital art and design is a very big program. It's our biggest program at Kendall. So you're seeing that really transition over from the normal usual traditional media, especially in over time. Because it is, and I think it does have to do a little bit with the fact that it is so easily accessible now, not easily, because there are, certain things that can come into play, cost for one, if you don't have the money to buy something like an iPad or a computer. But with schools that are now giving iPads because of COVID, it's making it more accessible for students to be able to explore that as an actual opportunity. And so we are seeing definitely this kind of transition into digital art and design, which is more like this, where it's character design, animation, things like that, as well as graphic.
Rebecca, before we started, you were talking about the access to technology and software that your students have. Can you tell our attendees about that?
Yeah, I was blown away how we were able to get a laptop in pretty much every student's hands when we went distance learning. And it was just, I can't believe all the resources we have. We're just so blessed. And then a lot of students, have their own stuff. And I wanted to say too, I appreciate so much being part of this, because I thought I couldn't be part of this because I'm a digital teacher, because we do so much vector illustration and raster illustration. And so it's just wonderful to know that that community is even opening up bigger to recognize that you can do art on a tablet, and it's just as just as viable as if you're doing acrylics or something like that. So yeah, but yeah, we have so much access. And go ahead, Morgan. Yeah, did you want to say something?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, and I think we see that transition too with the younger generation. So I'm 25, and I personally started, when I first started getting into art, anime is what got me into art. And now I do realistic work. I actually do figurative work, but you're seeing this transition where students are really, that's their first introduction to art and creation. And so you are seeing, it's so important that schools recognize digital art as like a actual art exploration. Like, I think that before there was some kind of bias towards it. That's not true art, right? And I think that it's so important. I completely agree with you, Rebecca. It's so important to recognize the skill and the technique that goes into digital art. 100%.
Yeah, because there's a new program called Fresco too. A lot of people are using like Procreate, and Fresco is like a painting, and the brushes they have on there are just so similar. And you have to learn a different technique. It's still a skill set. It's not like just because it's on a computer, it's just appearing. They still have to work at it and practice with the brushes and figure out how to apply them. And still composition and all the elements and principles of design are still part of it. Another thing that I think is that I get worried about sometimes is that they're copying like the anime and stuff. But more and more I think about it, I think of that like kind of somebody told me this one time, when you're first learning to do music, you're copying, like you're playing Led Zeppelin or whoever, and you're not like creating like brand new music. Sorry about that. So it's just kind of the same in art. It's okay, I think, to copy those styles as long as you're still like learning, the anatomy and all that other stuff.
Something we say all the time in even when we're looking at students' work who are applying to our programs and things like that. And I 100% believe in this. Obviously, you have to know the foundation to break them, or to break the rules. You have to know the rules to break the rules. And I think as how you get there, though, how you get into art is everyone has a different path that they're going to take. And I think if that pathway means starting off with anime, but then you are willing and open to learning those rules so that you can then go maybe back into a more illustrative, cartoon-esque style, but now you're taking these rules that you learned, that's 100% valid, and that's 100% art making. And so, yeah, I think, it's obviously properly being able to guide the students, but not also shoot them down if what they are interested in is that cartoon style.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to be more open to all of the kind of consumer type stuff too, because we have 2 Cricut machines in the classroom,
Oh, yeah.
which are crafting machines. But man, we are making some really nice art with it. And when it comes out, it doesn't look like it was made by, like, you know, not to degrade anybody, like, but like my mom who's just tinkering in the basement with some crafting stuff or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So that's been really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's changing so much, isn't it? It seems like.
Definitely. And there's still that recognition. I think like there's still that recognition for the fine arts. Again, I started in anime and whatnot, but now I do more fine art style work. And so it's definitely, everyone has their own path and every student has their own path, and just to give them the
Oh, I
All
think
right.
sure.
Yeah. So I will, while we wait for Morgan to come back, I will flip through a little bit more. And if you have questions, Liz, I really haven't been able to, I don't know if have you been able to keep an eye on the questions? Anything in the?
We're getting a lot of comments, not a lot of questions. So you guys, if you have questions for our guests, please go ahead and feed them into the chat. Lots of people are supporting career centers, so a nice shout out there for the work that those programs do. And Linda, who shared with us that she too is coming from a career center, mentions that the basics are very important to us. And so maybe I'll use that as a chance to transition to a question. I'm not sure if Morgan will be back to us, but Rebecca, you can talk a little bit about this. You know, what are you trying to do in your program, I guess? And when you're selecting what you're going to choose to display for an art show, or how you assess it, what are some of the key things that you're looking for?
I'm looking for probably composition and just a knowledge of, or just, you know, evidence of use of the elements and principles of design, really, that it feels, I mean, some of them are a little less like unfinished than others, you know what I mean? Like some were just starting off, but I think that was just kind of the stage that they're at. So I wanted to give them an opportunity to enter some things as well.
Do you get to work with your students for multiple years in a row very frequently, or is it just a class here or there?
Some people take it for 1 year, but most of them take it for the 2 years. And that's really what we need, because we're very exploratory in what we do. So we're doing brochures, and then next day we're doing t-shirts, or, you know, we might even be, we kind of we're laughing the other day. It's kind of a funny story to share. I had one girl that actually was doing a fox mount. So they had a full fox like skin and everything, and she had brought it in and she was painting it in the class. And then we had another guy on a guitar with a little amp, and he was playing some music because we were making a promo video. So he's going to do the music for it. And we're just sort of like, what is this class? You know, like this class is just crazy. It's got a bunch of weird stuff going on in it. Yeah.
It's very dynamic. I mean, and obviously everyone's influencing each other indirectly.
Yeah.
Can we just talk for a minute about the fox?
Yeah.
So they were painting on the fox, or they were making a painting of the fox?
And the fox was here, like it was just the head of the fox, and it was like, you know, like a styrofoam like insert or whatever.
Oh.
And then they were painting like the nose and like parts of it that still needed to be like finished up. And I kept out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, is my cat in here? What's going on? It's like really weird because it's obviously very realistic. So it is realistic, it is real.
Right.
But yeah, she does some taxidermy. She's the one that had the 2 sculptural pieces that she submitted with the bones, that she kind of takes the bones of the skull or whatever, and then she kind of dresses it up. So just kind of a northern Michigan-esque type thing.
Okay, because I was going to actually ask you what that was made out of. So
Yeah.
because I was just on that page, I'll flip back to that. So this one of the, okay, yep, that's a skunk. It really is a skunk skull.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was one with like a crystal.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep, that one.
So,
yep.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah. So, Maybe she'll be a taxidermist one year.
Right.
But she has her own business and everything. She called it Unearthed Remains. So she made like a logo and, you know, did business cards and everything for that. So she basically just takes like, you know, skulls and things like that and bones and makes them into art.
Well, there are a lot of, you know, major contemporary artists that are working in that vein too. I mean, I think a lot of things that she could connect to. Interesting. When you're looking through the pieces, what are the key things that you're looking for in your award-winning pieces or artists? Because you're looking for students to invite and hope they'll consider a path at Kendall. So you know, you mentioned that body of work. Can you tell us some of the key things that you're looking for?
Yeah, there's definitely one of the biggest things that I love to see when I'm looking at work is there a potential for growth? Is there a potential for exploration? Like you guys were just talking about, being able to really kind of know what you want to explore and show that you're kind of thinking about that next step of what you want to explore definitely helps a lot. And that's definitely when I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I can see exactly where they're going with this. And it may not be, I'm not saying every student has to, you know exactly what they want to explore, like Picasso, right? You don't have to have like 100% be there yet, because you're not going to be. That's why you go to school. But do you have that potential to an openness to really go somewhere with your work and want to explore that? You guys were talking about like collaboration, you know, being open to learning other mediums as well, and open to really rounding out your experience as an artist. Kendall specifically, as a school, we very much put an importance on collaboration between students, between different departments. So that's definitely something you're going to experience if you go to Kendall. We do require elective courses. We require you to take foundational courses where you're working with students in other programs and taking that class with other students. So definitely that potential for growth. You know, again, showing some semblance of a process that you're trying to understand more, understanding themes you want to explore, things like that.
One thing that I do want to say, so there are a lot of students who have won awards from Kendall for this exhibit. How will they find out? Because I don't even know what they've won. So what's the process? How will we communicate with them what they won? Because I know some of them are here and probably like, spill the goods.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. That's probably a little bit important. So what the next steps will be is that we have we'll send lists of all the students who have been given awards, obviously, to you guys. And what we need is contact information for each student who has won an award, who is at the high school level, somewhere in there, because they're the ones who are going to be awarded the cash awards. Unfortunately, the honorable mentions don't. So we don't need the contact information for them, just high school students. But we'll need the contact information. Then what will happen is that once I have all that, I send that on to our financial aid department, and then they will be notifying, probably digitally. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be through email because of COVID and everything. They'll notify the students of what those award amounts are and what they've been given.
Yeah, this is a nice way to compliment the students for all their work. So now you did mention, which we really haven't talked about, that you did select some students to win awards at the middle school and the elementary level. So why do you make that extra step?
Yeah, absolutely. So our honorable mention students. So we believe that, you know, art starts young. It all starts young. And having that support system and that ability to be recognized when you're younger is what's going to really push a student and a younger student to continue to explore. So really, we want to take that moment and that time to say, hey, you have something here. I can definitely see what you're doing. Keep up with it and keep going. And then maybe when you're in high school, you can apply if you want, you know, the monetary recognition. You can go on to college and things like that. And that this is a very realistic goal, and arts education is such a good path to go down, especially now. The world I was just having a conversation with a professor actually in our collaborative design program and product design program. And the world is going towards a very automation type business model, right? You know, we are doing more virtual learning. You're seeing in McDonald's, they now have, you know, the virtual screen. So how do you add back in that humanistic touch? And that's what artists do. And that's what we're here for. And that's why an art education is so, so, so important, because without artists, we are going to lose that humanistic touch within the age of automation. So showing those students that, yes, 100%, you can do this. We just want to take that moment to recognize the younger students.
Yeah, well, you know that you're preaching to the choir here. We feel exactly the same way, and we really do want to remind people the value of being creative and making art. Can you just, we don't have a whole lot of time left, but there are some people who might be hesitant to go into exploring art at the college level. So what are some opportunities for students who graduate with a degree from Kendall?
There are so many opportunities. I probably won't be able to cover them all in the next 12 minutes, but I mean, perfect example. So you not only do you have obviously your fine arts who go on to be their own creators using like Etsy shops. Etsy is huge now for artists. So you have obviously that. You have your graphic designer, you have who, you know, will create ads. You see ads when you're driving down the highway. You have people who go into UX design, user experience design. Those are going to be your, you know, your multimedia, digital art and design students. They're going to be what will create a easy user experience for, you know, the platform we're using right now. For Flipbook, that was probably a user experience person who looked it through. And then you have product designers who create the desk, or, you know, they create the desk that I'm sitting at right now. They create the computer you're using, how to make that product better. And then, you know, perfect example, we have a graduate from Kendall who actually, they were an interior design student. They went on to design playgrounds. So, you know, you never know where an arts degree can take you, because it may not be that what you think immediately when you think of an artist. When you think of a graphic designer, you think graphic designer. It could take you somewhere completely different. Even art history, we have a Kendall alum who is restoring in what is called the Heritage Hill District in Grand Rapids. There are a bunch of old houses. One of our art history students, her job is to go and restore those houses, to make them livable, to make it so that they, you know, become this community again, while still remaining the charm and the history of them. So there's so many opportunities, and I could talk about it all day, because you never know where it's going to take you. But there are options.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that diverse spectrum there, because I think we do tend to, you know, think of maybe the fine arts and not think beyond that. So Liz, I saw you unmuted yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think those of us who've been in the arts for decades now and have seen our peers in the arts navigate this terrain, I think it really is on us to let people know that sort of maybe idealized almost la boheme, like starving artist thing. Okay, that could be a path, but it's not the path. You know, it's not really what I see my peers do. It's not what I've seen, you know, people that I've worked with who started off in design and ended up in fine art, and started off in fine art and ended up in design, and all the myriad of really exciting and really sustainable paths that they have found that are out there. So, you know, for hesitant parents who are like, oh my gosh, my child is very creative, and I don't know how to foster this, do it. There are a lot of really exciting paths, yeah, from designing shoes to designing, you know, surfaces for Target and Crate and Barrel, or making artwork that's exhibited in museums across the world. So it's all there.
Yeah, I always say when a student comes in undecided, because you do see that where it's like, I know I like art, but I don't know exactly what I want to do. When someone comes in undecided, that is something to focus on, is like, what do you want to do, obviously, but then also what do you think you have the most interest in when you're going through your schooling, because there is the opportunity for you to cross paths, because we do collaborative education, as well as just an art degree in general can be applied in so many ways. So, you know, even if you are undecided and you're trying to think, oh, what will make me most marketable, really, you can go the fine art. If you like drawing and that's what you want to do, you can go into drawing and then end up going into graphic design as a career path. But then you at least enjoyed what you were doing through your schooling. You know, if that makes sense, kind of as an example, but yeah, it's 100%.
And I like how you said enjoy going through school, because there's nothing, you got to enjoy what you're doing in life. So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think what you mentioned earlier about what you're looking for in these bodies of work, even at that high school level, the thing that stuck out to me is how much you're looking for someone who wants to investigate something, who has a question, who wants to pursue an idea. And even Hey Sue and the attendants talking about artists as creative problem solvers, right? And I think that that's what's really exciting, that we see it in arts classes and arts learners of all ages, is that interest and willingness to investigate a problem. And that's a universal skill. So that's what we foster, I think, in arts education.
100%.
Mm-hmm. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask Morgan, or questions about the Career Tech Center, go ahead and put those in the chat, because we're coming down the end here. I do want to, I'm going to share a link here right now. Crooked Tree is offering a youth arts scholarship. We're actually offering 4, and those are $1,000 scholarships. So the deadline is actually coming up pretty quickly. It's April 15th. So please share with your students. If you're an art teacher, if you are a parent or a student, tell your friends. It's definitely well worth your time to apply to this.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Christy. And as many of you in attendance know, Crooked Tree Art Center has our campuses here in Petoskey and they're in Traverse City. And we've been highlighting our Traverse City online youth art exhibition. But Petoskey's is right around the corner. So another shout out to Morgan for reviewing another huge bunch of artwork here very soon. I'll be turning that over to her today. So yes, we've been thrilled to be able to showcase the work coming out of our Traverse City region, but obviously a lot of phenomenal things happening in the Petoskey region as well. And we'll be sharing that show in a couple weeks, April 12th. So I definitely want our attendees to know that that's coming. It's looking great. And just another shout out to our instructors who have made work during such a challenging period of time.
Yeah. Yep. So for everybody who is getting ready to go on spring break, I hope it is a well-earned time of rest, or in Rebecca's case, it sounds like it's going to be some rest and creativity. She's got some studio time planned. So we hope that for everybody, because it has been quite a year, and we want you to take care of yourselves, as well as everything that you do for our students in Northern Michigan. So I know we're coming down to the end, and I don't see any more questions. So these are your last few minutes, everybody. I feel like I'm doing a fundraiser, a telethon. So you got to get them in those last 2 minutes. So go to our website and you can click on the links to see the different flipping books. And once you're flipping through the flipping books, you will be able to see what pieces won awards. We will be in touch with the students that did win awards, either from Crooked Tree or from Kendall. And Morgan, I will say I did have a lot of, I'm having a lot of students and teachers send me their contact information. So I will be passing that on to you as soon as possible. So let's see, thanks for inviting. yeah, it's great to have all of you that came today. So thank you to everybody who spent your morning with us. So, all right, Liz, am I missing anything?
No, I think I've said my piece. How about you, Morgan and Rebecca? Are there any closing remarks you'd like to share?
Just thank you so much. And I was reading some of the chat too, and there were some people that said some things about career tech centers and how they're supporting, and I really appreciate that. I think that career tech centers are really great places for kids to explore and kind of try to figure out what they want to do before they do go off to college. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yeah, and I see that Morgan is typing in her email address. Morgan, that's actually only going to the panelists. So you got to click the drop down, but just so everybody knows, in case you don't catch her email before you pop off, it is in all of the flipping books. So whether you're looking at elementary, middle school, or high school flipping book, there is information about Kendall and about Morgan. So if you do have questions, she would like you to feel free to contact her. So on that, oh, Morgan, we were going to give you a chance to talk and I just talked for you. I'm so sorry.
You're good. I hope that one went to, I selected panelists.
It did.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I just want to thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to speak, and thank you to the teachers. You are doing excellent work for your students. They are so lucky to have you. Really, you all are just amazing, amazing, amazing. The student work was beautiful. It was so, I just loved looking through it, and I'm so excited to get yours, Liz, and look through more. And you said, I'm sorry, but I love it. So yeah, really thank you. Arts education is so important, so I love getting the opportunity to speak about it.
Yeah, let's see, Sophia Morris just asked, yes, the flipping book is on our website, Sophia, so you will be able to flip through there. And one sponsor that I didn't get to acknowledge because we didn't go through the middle school and the elementary flipping books, and that is Fred and Beth Bynum. I know Beth was on, I'm not sure if she's still here. So they sponsored 10 honorable mentions, and they give us some art goodies that I will be sharing with the students and the teachers. So Beth, thank you very much for doing that. Beth is very passionate about making sure that we encourage our young artists, and I don't know if you saw that in the chat, Morgan, but she was very appreciative of you recognizing some of our elementary, middle school students. So we do as well. So all right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining. Oh, Liz, go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, there was one more question that popped in the chat there, and I know we're 11, but Christy, can you remind everybody what is going to be visible on display in the galleries?
Yes, so any piece, any student that received an award, whether it was from Crooked Tree, Kendall, and when I say Crooked Tree, that includes the honorable mentions, your art teachers were notified. Now, because school is going on spring break, and not every art teacher had the artwork in their hands, if you would like to drop it off at Crooked Tree Art Center, you are more than welcome to do that. I will warn you, we are not officially open until April 1st. So I'm going to put my contact information in the chat right now. You can contact me and we will set up a time to meet and to get your art. But honorable mentions, if they are delivered to me, will be on display. So yeah, and it'll be nice to see see this work in person as well. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you to our amazing, talented artists in our community. It gives us hope for what's to come, because we have a lot of really thoughtful, creative thinkers that are going to be coming up in the ranks here. And to all of our teachers, thank you and enjoy spring break.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody.